think it's safe to say that streaming television is the new normal when it comes to viewers' living rooms. Not only is it a more convenient way to watch TV, but it also offers brands a chance to deliver more personalized, more specific ads in a way that linear TV simply could not. Hi, everybody. My name is Natalie Zafat, and I'm an Ad Age Studio 30 contributing editor. Today, I am joined by Jeff Teng, who is the VP of Business Development at MNTN, to talk a little bit more about connected TV. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, Natalie. Super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I want to start out by talking about the agility and the flexibility that CTV offers, I think especially when it comes to managing creative messaging. So tell us a little bit more about that. And also, why is that such an important capability for brands in 2022?
Yeah, I think, just broadly speaking, a connected television is another device that is now connected to the internet. So not different than your laptop or your mobile phone, which means that an advertiser just has a lot more knowledge behind who is sitting behind that device. And having that knowledge allows them to be much more effective in capturing the engagement and communicating a personalized message, right? And so doing that in the form of creative is very important because again, you have a very short amount of time to not only capture the attention, but to keep them engaged and to send through your message effectively. And so through different types of creative technologies, they can serve much more dynamic creatives. So one of the things that we're starting to see is, we can show products that are maybe very popular in your area, maybe products that are purchased more. We can determine what the weather is in your neighborhood. So if it starts raining as a retailer, maybe you want to surface an ad around raincoats and rain jackets. And then where I am, where it's sunny, they might serve me an ad with shorts and hats and sunglasses and so forth. But the ability to be very agile and nimble in terms of how they can change creatives is also just, it's very different than what it used to, because you can now just simply take a file of a video and that's uploaded into that system and just turn around different types of creatives much more quickly than you had before.
Totally. I can imagine that level of agility is crucial for advertisers. I want to talk about precision targeting for a moment. I don't think you can talk about CTV without talking about that. Can you give us an example of perhaps a consumer habit that an advertiser could expect to capitalize on using precision targeting, or maybe even a habit that they wouldn't expect to see that might surprise them to learn about a consumer?
Sure. Yeah, targeting in CTV is critical. I mean, I think it's what makes CTV advertising so much more effective in terms of media budgets and how they spend their money. I mean, I'll just think of myself as an example of a household to target. I tend to buy certain. I know what I like in terms of what styles I wear, what brands I purchase from, and so knowing what brands I typically buy, what transactions I've made in the past, as well as what that means in terms of propensities of what I'm going to buy next. So an example of this might be, for example, this is a North Face shirt that I'm wearing, and so I like outdoor gear. And so those are targeting segments that a retailer might want to know to either retarget or maybe even conquest as a competitor. Knowing that I am traveling to Hawaii in a couple of weeks, which my boss doesn't know yet, is very important because they might change the creative again as North Face to say, okay, I'm going to now surface more towards more tropical weather type products, and so they can either reach new consumers that they haven't reached before, or they can reach consumers that they already know about. So another example is, they can upload a CRM list of email addresses of existing customers and retarget them, right? And if you have a loyalty program, you can serve them a promotion versus maybe I went to their website or their brick and mortar store and didn't buy something. Maybe that's a different type of message that they want to serve. But the ability to differentiate with these different audiences is very important for an advertiser, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to talk a little bit more specifically about metrics for a moment. Jeff, the last time we spoke, you gave me a really good example of how CTV gives brands a way to really effectively measure the outcomes of their ad campaigns, and how a company like MNTN can really help track those outcomes to the finish line. Tell us a little bit more about how that works. And then what are some of the other ways that the data from CTV advertising can actually offer deeper insights for those retailers into who their customers are?
Yeah, again, measurement, you can target all you want, but if you can't measure the effectiveness of your campaigns, it doesn't really mean much. So the ability to tie the exposures or the campaign to outcomes is critical. And there are different ways or different types of measurement capabilities. So for example, knowing that I served an ad on my TV, if Nike served an ad to me and then I went to their website to buy something, we can track the activity from that ad impression to the site activity. So not only did I visit the site, but what products did I search for? What products did I add to the cart? Did I abandon my cart? Did I end up going through with my purchase, and how much did I spend and what did I buy? So that's what we call web-based outcomes. Or if I am a retailer who has a heavy app presence, I can also tell them that this ad campaign drove new app downloads or new app installs. Or if I already had the app, what is some of that lift in the app activity that this campaign drove? And it doesn't just stop there. It can also go all the way to say, maybe I visited this specific store. So if I'm an electronics retailer, this ad campaign drove, certain lift in foot traffic. So maybe I didn't even buy something from them, but the fact that I went to the store with the intent to buy something, I think is a very important metric for them to know. So being able to tie everything from the exposure of that ad and driving conversions through these different types of mediums are things that we can support.
I wonder if, based on some of the conversations we're having, you could look a little bit broader at the industry and give us a little bit of a prediction. Some of the it's obviously no secret that more content is available to consumers than ever before. I wonder if you're weighing AVOD, SVOD, what feels like it might be on the brink of a big growth. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Avod is going to continue to grow for many reasons. One of which you just outlined is that consumers are having access to more and more content, and that's distributed across different types of apps and content providers. And so having to pay for each to each content provider becomes cost prohibitive because they're
Mm.
just incremental. So I think the ability to provide free content to folks is going to continue to grow, and you see that with examples. I mean, Disney, that has traditionally been pure subscription based, has now is now talking about offering a hybrid model, and so that's kind of a testament to the trend that you're outlining here.
Yep, it's a really good point. I wonder too if we can talk for just a moment about sort of return on investment. CTV, from what I understand, has a higher return, and I think it's because more efficient tracking, more efficient targeting. Tell us your take on that. Why is the return so much higher than in linear?
Yeah, I think it stems from some of the themes that we've talked about today. I mean, targeting, for example, the fact that I guess by comparison, in traditional linear advertising, if you and I were watching, the same show, we would see the same ad.
Mm.
And today with CTV, we will potentially see a different type of ad. And so that's because of the ability that we provide to an advertiser to target you and your household much differently than mine. And so that is going to drive higher conversions, higher levels of engagement in general. And again, the measurement component kind of closes the loop in terms of that. But for sure, it goes back even way before CTV. If you look at paid search, I remember when I was at eBay many years ago, just changing a keyword in a certain creative will drive very different click-through rates. So imagine a video and being able to target a video and not just the creative itself, but maybe even things like sentiment. What is this creative trying to elicit in terms of the emotion? All those targeting capabilities will for sure drive increased ROAS.
Yeah, makes sense. I think we've got like 60 seconds left, as much as I feel like we could keep going on and on about this. Is
Yeah.
there anything we need to know that we haven't talked about that people watching should know about CTV advertising?
Yeah, I think, the topic here is how to be agile, right? And the agility in CTV advertising and all of these components that we've talked about allows for a retailer or a brand to just be nimble and adapt to change in the form of their messaging, in the form of their creative,
Hmm.
in the form of their targeting, and the ability to capture these data points in much more real time than before allows them to be nimble and to adjust, whether that be the message, whether that be adjusting to cultural moments, to macroeconomic change, maybe geopolitical things. But how do you then take your brand and change those on the fly and to optimize in the form of CTV is truly innovative, and it's super exciting to see.
Agreed. Jeff, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.